Hey, good evening. Good evening, guys. So let's just start immediately. I don't think we are going to waste much time due to the fact that we have done a lot last class. So we're just going to go through what we did in last class. So and make sure we understood it very well. Hey, good evening. Good evening, guys. So let's just start immediately. I
Sorry,
don't
this
think
is
we are going to waste
echoing.
much time due to the fact that we have done. Sorry for that echo. Sorry for that echo. So I'll just go through what we did last class. So I shared a PDF for us to just go through and for us to understand. Sorry, as usual, we have to pray before we start. Let's not forget that. In Jesus' name, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your help, for your guidance, for how you have helped us to get to this level of this training. May your name be highly exalted in the name of Jesus. Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy that you have been giving us the wisdom to continue in this class. Daddy, we thank you and we return all glory today in the name of Jesus. Father, we are praying that as many students that will go through this program, they will come out successful in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. For in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you have joined the class and you are hearing me, you can just indicate with a comment. Yes, you are hearing me. So while I start, let me just get my VS Code open, my file. So yesterday, on Tuesday, we talked about so many things and we're able to go through them one after the other. We're able to add our SSH key. So we are basically just going to go through what we have done and we'll just see how far we'll go through Git again and get so many understanding for us beginners, what we need to understand in Git. And let's put in mind that it's not everything you will understand now. Majority of the things you will know will come from when you are working in a real life project. A majority of them will come from depending level of the project that you are. Sorry for that. Depending on the level of the project that you're working on, that is what will determine your knowledge. So some persons who want to do everything at once, fine. But the fact is you can't learn everything at once. No matter how good you are, you can't learn everything at once. You have to go in a gradual process. So what we have done in this period, we're just basically taking the things that you need. You can see HTML has so many tags, but we did not actually go through those tags that HTML has. Okay, I can see the comments coming in. We did not actually go through those tags that HTML has. We just had to go through basically the ones we need, the basic ones we need, and that is the best way to learn programming, not to go and do everything and at the end of the day you don't use it. I want with this stuff programming, if you're not using it if you're not using it constantly, if you're not using this particular stuff constantly, maybe you learn C and you have not been using it for anything, for like 2 months, 3 months. When you come back, it will look like, though it will be fast for you to grab when you start rushing it, but you will still have to go back again and still want to understand some things. So we are not going to go deep into so many things that you feel that what we are supposed to do. So for Git, we're just going to go through the main things you need now. Then we'll try as much as possible to go through many things that we need. And in our next class, we'll not enter into CSS. This is when we'll now start giving you guys assessments. The main reason why we have not been bringing assessments is because, well, if we bring assessments, how are we going to assess you guys? We want you guys to be able to host, send us the link, we'll view, cross check before giving you guys marks and all that. So now it will start coming. Now it will start coming in a stronger way for you guys. So the project will start coming stronger for you guys. And you guys should just have to try as much as possible to flow through. So let's just go through. Last class we talked about how to add, how to use GitHub, and we're able to use GitHub. If let's check if our GitHub is still connected to be sure git removes dash v. Git removes dash v to check if there is any GitHub connected, like if there's any version or if there's any GitHub connected. Let me just use that word. If there's any GitHub connected, so that you guys will be understanding it as we are going through. So now you can see that there is GitHub connected to this project. So and you can add as many GitHub accounts as you want to add. You can add millions of it, and you can push into them differently. Now, in a scenario whereby you are building a project, and the project that you are building, let's take for instance, you're building a project, and the project you are building is like, how will I put it? Mm, in a scenario whereby you are building a project, and the project you are building is having both the what's it called? You have the development uh, repo and the production repo. Now, when I mean development repo and the production repo, when building a project, you don't build once and host it, and at the same time testing with that same one you use. So for the test, when I say development and production, development now means the testing aspect. The one you can test even when your project is live, you have one for yourself or one for your company that you guys use to test and test run any kind of thing you want to test. So that ones are called development. In a scenario whereby you have your development repo and all that, you will not have issues. You have to add your development repo with your production repo at the same time be doing you what you have to do. So now let's go into this. Let's go into this now. Mm, where did we stop? GitHub. Okay. Please, if you are following through, just indicate you are following through. So let's get to know that you are following through. So I can. see one person that is following through, but that will not stop us from continuing what we have. So now we have this our repo we created yesterday, and the repo that we created yesterday, we're able to create two. These are GitHub accounts we created yesterday, and the repo we have now are two for our project we created yesterday. So now let's look at it again. Let's go through what we had last class and see it again. So now let me create a new project. A new project. Test, test, test. Okay. Inside test, I'll create one. So let me open this one. So now we said something in our last class. Let me create our HTML index.html. So now what we said in our last class is that the first thing you do when you want to use your GitHub, because Git helps us to track, like we say, Git helps us to track. It's a version control system, and it helps us to track our code details and everything, both what somebody has done. Like I said, I told you guys, okay, download install some extensions like Git init, Git lens helps you. You will see it Git lens. Just check for Git lens. You will see it. Think so is Git lens. Okay, look at it, Git lens. So it helps you whenever you're working with somebody. We'll get to that stage whereby we'll pair you guys, the people that will be remaining by God's grace, we'll pair them and they will actually work on projects together. So in that scenario now, if somebody push work on this particular part and I work on this particular part, I'll be able to know who work on this line, who work on seeing that here because I'm the only one working on this project. If it's a group project, it will be indicated that this is it. If you are the one, although it will still be indicated, I think when most times when it's private, well, that does not concern us for now. When we get to group projects, I will still explain that to everybody about you want to connect your GitHub to your project so that you can be able to host easily and do other things easily. You have to do what is called Git init, but I will not do it now. I'll first of all show you guys something. Let me enter this project. I'll first of all show us something. Let me show something. Okay, it is open already. Hidden files is already checked. So hidden files now, you can see I'm not seeing Git. I'm not seeing a Git folder or a Git file. So if I do Git init is always done once. Once. It's always done once at the beginning of when you want to start your connection. And that is the only time you do it and you don't do it again. You don't need to do it again. So now once I do git init, I click git init, initializing empty repository. So now it is empty repository because you have not connected any GitHub repo. So now as I've done that check, you can see the Git now. The Git is there. Now put in mind, no matter the level I have gone in a project, if I delete this Git, all my GitHub tracking is over. Put that in mind. No matter the level you have gone in your project, no matter the amount of push, the reference and all that connection you can track, you know who did this, you know who did that. Once you once you tampered with this .git, you automatically lose your tracking. The only saving grace you will still have is you can still connect it to your GitHub because you have already pushed so many of your work to GitHub. So, but in a scenario whereby you pushed today, you pushed your work to GitHub today, and you worked on like for 2 weeks, you have been working on the project without pushing your work to GitHub. You have been working for the project, you have worked on different pages without pushing your work. And let's take for instance, somebody come delete this Git and maybe tamper with your files. My brother, my sister, those your work that you have done for those few weeks is gone. I can use the word what they used to say again, OT law. It is gone, but you have the opportunity at all time to push your work. So even if you work on half a page, push it. If you work on full page, don't skip a day without pushing. You work on something today, don't say I want to finish this before I push. You work on something now, make sure you push it immediately. You work on this, you are done working on it and it is working. You have tested it, it's working. Push it. Anything can happen, your system can crash. But if your system crash, you are still sure that yes, you are certain, you can beat your chest that my files are not gone. So that is one advantage of GitHub. One big advantage. So, but it can be an advantage to you if you always consider pushing your work. That is when it will be an advantage for you. But it will be a disadvantage for you if you don't like pushing your work and your system mistakenly crash. You buy another one, you pull the ones you have from your GitHub and continue from where you stop, or from where your GitHub stop, not from where you stop. So you see the problem, you then continue from where your GitHub stop, not from where you stop. So not that we are praying for anything. The main reason why GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket came to life is not because of we can't keep our files, but because we are humans. Most anything can happen at any point in time, but there are things that have been covered for us. So let's take note of those advantage and make use of. So let's make use of the advantage we have in GitHub and push our work always. And push our work always. Let me check. If you have connected to this live class, please indicate you have connected, and so we can be moving together. So now let's continue. Let's continue. So this is it. So, and the next thing you have to do is to now we have succeeded in uh we have succeeded in connecting our we have succeeded in creating our GitHub initialization, and GitHub is ready to start tracking our files. GitHub is ready to start Git is ready to start tracking our files and ready to note what we have done and what we have not done. So some persons like using uh, uh, pushing from here, doing their commits from here, doing everything from here. Is when you have connected your GitHub to your what is it called, to your VS Code, you will see this. You will see this. you definitely see this. So, and you have to install. Well, I don't really like using this. I don't really know why. I rarely use this. I always prefer because okay, let's take away. For me, I use Linux very well to Win. I prefer using Linux to Windows. So, but I have two systems. So I have one as Windows and I have one as Linux. So I prefer using the one for Linux because I like Linux. Um, Windows is just the fact is when you get to there's a stage you get to in programming. There's some programming language self you can't use Windows. There are some programming language you can't use Windows. Yeah, it's not that you can't use Windows. You can use Windows, but you have to install third parties that will help you make use of Windows properly. But for Linux, you can use any programming language goes for it, and it makes you look like an alien. For me, most things you are going to do is if you like Windows, fine. Most things you're going to be doing comes from the terminal. You have to go through the terminal to do majority of your stuff. When I mean terminal, your command line, you have to go through your command line to do many things. But that we just leave it aside. So we don't really have need to carry that in mind. If you are using Windows, fine. As far as you can achieve what you want to achieve, that is good to go. So let me just go through my extensions and see the one that you need. Okay, you try to install Git history. You can see them. I'm just trying to go through them for you guys. So you can see Git history. It's very, very important. Try to install Git history. Try to install Git lens. I told you guys about live. I told you guys about what is it called? About live server. Live share is there, live server is there. Live share, you can share your screen with anybody, your GitHub, your VS Code screen, and the person can help you correct some things. That is kept aside. So that is that. So now let's continue with our Git. So the next thing we are going to do after we have initialized our Git, we don't need to do adding and all that. We have to go to our GitHub. Let's go to our GitHub and connect. Sorry, and create a repo. I I define what we call repo in GitHub. Don't carry it as a big word. Repository, don't carry it as a big word or repo. Anyone you call it repository or repo. Majority when you are coding, you don't call it repository again. If you have gone deep in programming, you just basically call it repo. But whether repo or repository, it is basically meaning that you have a folder. So just like your folder in your project or in your system, this is a folder housing everything here. So what I'm creating now in GitHub is this one, is this repo, is this the folder or directory, anyone you call it. So now that is what we are creating in GitHub that we call it. So it's just like a folder that helps you hold your work, that helps you hold your files. So now, what are we going to do now? We're just going to click on new. For those creating their accounts now, or for those creating maybe they have created a GitHub account but have not used it. Now you will see a big button here because you have not added any repository. You will see a big button here, just like this one you are seeing here. You will see it here. Create a new repository. You click on it. But because I have created a repository, I'm not going to see that. I'm going to be saying new. So for me now, I don't need to do much. I just have to click on new. So immediately I click on new, you will see it here. So now I have to pick a name. Now make sure you always pick a name that's rhyme with your project. Don't go and pick AZ 821 555 SSSSSS C. H. Don't go and pick such kind of words. Don't go and pick don't go and pick such kind of repository name. Make sure you choose something wonderful and something that will rhyme with your work. Now, let's pick a name. What are we going to pick? Test, test, uh, project. And if I pick something similar to what we have before in our GitHub account, it will show an error that has been used. It's definitely show an error that has been used. But for the fact I'm not picking what I have before, it's not going to show that error. So you can come down and give a description. This project for test is for my dev mode. It's not a must actually to give your description, but it's still good to always give description. But if you don't want to, fine. It's your project. It's not your project. Anyone work. So now we have to come down now. Now on this part, it can be public, it can be private. Now let me explain the both of them. If it's public, that means anybody can view it. I can just go to my URL and search for a project. But if it's private, nobody can see it. Nobody can see it. It will just be there. And except you add that person, the person can never see it. The person can never will see it. But if you don't add the person will not see it and the person cannot clone your work. But if you add the person will see it. So you get me. So on this part now, it is very, very important you put that in mind. That it can be public, it can be private. There are some projects you are working by yourself, you have to put it private. Most of my projects that I'm working personally, I put them private, except I add you. But there are some ones I just want to work and just give to the community. There's one I worked on, NFT project I worked on. I left it open. I left it open after working on it. Though the company I built it for sale because it's like a uh how will I put it? It's like assessment. It's like a test assessment project for a job I applied for. So after I built it, I had to leave it public because there was no link to add them to review. So I had to leave it public and push it to them to review. So that is it. So for if it's private, I must add the person to the project before the person can see it. And the person must what? Accept. The person must accept the fact that I've added him or her to the project. If not, the person will not see it. So the next thing we are going to do, we are leaving it as so the next thing we are going to do, you can put your what's it called? You can uh add your readme if you want to. You can add a readme file if you want to, but I'm not going to do that now. But you can add it if you want to. README file will just help you have a kind of, they will just gather some description for you. But you can add it, you can create your own README file at any point in time and do your explanation. Now, README file is just there to like, now you see some persons that will give you like some projects. The first thing you will see is what the README. And the README there is to guide the person understand what the project is meant for and what you can do in the project and what you cannot do in the project. So that is what the README file is. If you come to something like uh, npm, let's find an npm project that has been hosted on npm. Okay, swipe up. So you can see README. So this is like a GitHub. They have posted it they have pushed it to the GitHub. So you can see this is a swiper. So you can see this is the README file. So swiper is free. So there are so many people that have their own README long. If you want to see that, but I'm not really going into that. I just want to use it to explain README for you. So that is README. So now what are we going to do? We're just going to click on create account. So I'm still taking my time to explain what we did last class, so you guys will still understand. So now, for the fact that now I'm using SSH. Now, last class we talked about SSH. So we did an SSH connection. So when I mean SSH, this is what I mean. Just I've already done my, so I'm just going to show you guys again. Just click on SSH and GPG. So now this is an SSH. So what are we going to do? You click on new SSH. But when you click on new SSH, now you see give the SSH a name and a big box where you can add your SSH. But now we're not really going to go there. I will show you guys some things that you need to do. You have to click on this link. So you can cram most time, most people want to start the cramming method. I know as a beginner, we love cramming, we want to cram it and put it in our heads most times. For most persons, that was what I was doing before. I want to make sure if I don't know it, I don't know it. That's why I look at myself as I want to make sure I know it. Let it come from my head always, but let it not be that I forget. Let it be anything I want to write, I will search on Google. I just want to take it from my head. I want to remember. But my sister, my brother, the world has advanced and many things are revolving, just like front end now. For Next.js, as at last year, they did on that update. And I believe before this year runs out, or next, let me just say, sorry, last year there was an update. This year, I think that this year they did an update this year. So maybe next year they will still do another update. Now, take for instance, you want to cram all those things. You can't cram it. Learn to make research. Learn to make research. That is one part of developers. Every developer make research. Every developer. Then there are some old platforms that are here to help us make research. Platform like ChatGPT, your Stack Overflow, and all that. They are there to help us in terms of challenges, in terms of problem. It's good to always have it with your head, but when you have tried and tried and tried, make sure you switch out. So I've opened this now. What am I going to do? I'm going to click on now. This is where I want to generate a new SSH. But I'll have to open this, adding a new SSH, open it on that in another tab. Then I'll click on this one. So this is it. So the next thing you're going to do is to copy this line. Copy this line. Now, when you copy this line and you paste it, make sure your email entered here. Now, just click on command line, or you write terminal. So that you use terminal or you write command line, CMD, C, CMD. So that you use your command prompt or you use what is called terminal. So me, I always prefer terminal. I always like running it as an administrator. Administrator now, so I will have all leverages it has. And it's so now I'll just come here and paste that code. So I'll copy it now and I'll paste it. So you can see, and I'll put my email inside of here. And I'll put my email inside of here. But I've done all those things. So I'll just click on enter. You will see add passphrase. Don't really bother about that. Just click enter, enter until it is over. Just be clicking after that, and you will see passphrase, you will see enter a direction, a repository that you want this to be saved, SSH key to be saved. Just click on enter. Click on enter, and they will tell you passphrase. Don't worry about that. Just click on enter. Click on what? Enter key. Just click on the enter key, and it will open it for you. What you want to see, it will open it for you. Now, once it opens for you, uh once it breaks and go to another line on that and tell you to put on that, what you're going to do now, I don't want to start running this because already have done that. So you come to this next link you open on another tab, and you just basically go to the cart. This is the cart. Just copy this one, copy that one, and paste it. This will help you copy the SSH key. That will help you copy the SSH key. Then when you have copied the SSH key, you come back here. When you have clicked here, you then paste the SSH key and the name you have given it, so that it will be there forever. So that's for connecting SSH. If you still don't understand, please, with what I've explained, make use of uh, uh, the other class we did, the previous class we did, so you can understand what we are doing and where we are now. So now, for the fact that I've done that SSH key, all I need to do now is to do my. So I've done my initialization. Then the next thing I need to do is to add this to staging. Now you can also do the Git connecting of your GitHub to your project. But the first thing I will have to do, I will have to switch this from master to main. Now, put in mind that switching from master to main is before we used to use main master. Even most projects that you see is main on the main branch, not master branch again. People are running from master branch, but some fast using it, but we are running from master branch to main branch. So we are running from what master branch to main branch. We have to go for a 3 minute break. We'll go for a 3 minute break. A 3 minute break. Let me just get something. So I'm back. I am back. So let's continue. Just have to get water. So I am back. So if you're hearing me, please just indicate you're hearing me now. So I am back. So I am back. If you're hearing me, just indicate you're hearing me. So let's continue. So where are we? So after the git init, like I said, if you see most of our projects we have done, let me just open this GitHub. You will see that if we don't indicate that this is, so you can see that the branch now is main. The main branch is the main branch that we have. That is the master branch. But we don't use master again. Majority of developers don't use master, we use main. So that is why we have to switch it to main. And you will see GitHub also will indicate that you have to switch to main. You can see this line. This line here is for you to switch from master branch to main branch. You can see even GitHub advise it. So you have to abide by it. So now it depends on which one you want to start with. Anyone you want to start with. Now, putting this code in mind, like I said, some persons want to prefer to use theirs from here. Some persons just want to do commits and all that. But for me, I always prefer writing the code myself because it's just like a GUI. I can get it at any point in time. But getting the code in my head, knowing it as a developer, it helps me. Getting it helps. So depending on what you want. So now, like I said in our previous class, if you want to add what you have, your work now, to Git, because you're not adding to GitHub, you're adding to Git. Then you will now push to GitHub, you will now update your GitHub. Then now let's start with our status. Let's see our status. So now status helps you check what is done and what is not done. So Git status now you will see on track file. So this on track file means that this file that you have here, if I click on that file to add it now, it means that you have not added it to Git. Now that means if I'm not adding it to Git, that means it's not on GitHub. For the fact that I have not added it to Git, that means it's not on GitHub. So what are we going to do in that aspect? Excuse me. So this means that you have not added it to Git. You have not added it to Git. That means this file is not on GitHub. So what are we going to do now? We have to do our add. Our add helps us to add on our file. There's what we call staging. So like, let me not use those words. Let me just use. Okay, now add means you're just like preparing your work. Now let me use uh painter. Okay, paints. I think this painter always helps us. So now I'm just trying to, okay, this is our kit. Let me use that word. This is our kit. We write it. Git. So this is our git. Now, so now this is our project. These are our projects. So now these are project and these are project files. I think this will help us now. These are three project files in my project. So now, this is our Git. Git helps us to track before we push to GitHub. If what you want to push to GitHub is not on Git, then you don't have anything to push. Now last class, I just want to make sure we understand Git before we move to any other thing. You will see that when you open Git, if you go to your reference header, you will see that it's empty. So now, if you do Git status, if these files are not on Git, you will see that it will be under on track files. But now, if you do Git add, the files will now move to what is called staging or commit and staging. So this is what we call staging. The files will now move to staging. Or let me just use stage. So staging. The files will now move to the files will just be added for you. So now once I do git add and let me do the git add and space dot. I click enter. So what happens now is that these three files are now here. What happens now that these three files have been added here. You get? So now if you check, so now if you come back and do git status, you come back and do git status, you now see that changes to be committed. You now see, but before you are seeing on track files. So, but now you are not seeing what's it called? Changes to be committed. Now you will see that use git remove and this to on stage. Now it's inside the stage, but it has not been committed. It has not been properly handed over to Git to take over the file. At this point, if you go and do Git push, you're not pushing your file because they are under the stage now. They're inside the stage folder, just like a temporary storage. Let me use that word. So now, if I now come down, now at this point, now after doing this git add, but put in mind, you can still do git add index.html. But I just don't want to add only index.html because now this is just one file, but in your project you might have 20 files. So I don't want to be doing them one after the other. So with git add space dot, git add space dot will do the work for you automatically. You don't have to stress yourself. So now you go to your file, once you go to your file, you will not still be seeing anything. You will not still be seeing anything. You will not be seeing anything because it has not been properly committed to Git. The only thing you're just going to be seeing, you are seeing this thing now. This is like a tracking. It's like you are tracking this file. That is what you are going to be seeing. But on your head, where you see your commit and all that, you're not going to be seeing anything. So now what are we going to do? We're just going to do what? Git commit dash n, which means message. You add a message to it. What message? You're just going to add project first commit for all files to be added. So just like using a good name, a good description. So once I click enter now, yes, you can see I've added it now. So if I do the same git status now, you will not see anything. So nothing to be committed. You can see the difference now. You can see the difference. Nothing to be committed in this one. But when you did git add changes to be committed, you can see. Before you do git add, you can see. So, but now that you have done git commit, you can see. So now you have committed the work, everything to git. You have handed all your work now to git. Git, do what you want to do with it. Now, let me go back to my drawing board. Now, what will happen now in this point now is that all this work that you have on staging will still be there, or they will just be moved. Let me just use that word. Let me not say they will still be there again. They will just be moved totally to Git. Though they are still the same thing, but I'm just trying to explain it so that you understand. They will now be moved totally to Git where they can be used. So that where they can be used to do anything with Git. So that is what they happen now. That's what just happened. They will now be moved to Git. Everything now be handed over to Git so that Git can use it to do anything you want to do. So if you come back now to our file, you will see more things now. You can see. Are you seeing? But this is still there, which is your staging that was there before. But I'm just trying to explain what we have so you can see. So now when you come to the reference and come to your header, you will now see a file. You can see. So your file is being tracked now. So now, if I want to push it to GitHub now from here, I can. So what am I going to do to push to GitHub? I will have to change my branch name. You can see my branch. Now, if I do git branch, please, you're noting all this thing I'm doing. Oh, git branch now will now show you all the branch you have. But I have only master branch, git branch. So what will I do now? I'll use the git branch dash capital letter M main. Like I told you, we always like to switch to main. If you go to our GitHub, if you go to the GitHub you created, you will see it there. So it's the same thing, but because I always do it, so I don't need to come back here and look at it. If I don't always do it, I will have to come back and copy. So automatically you can see from master I have main. You get from master I have what? Main. So from master now we have our main branch. So from master, we have our main branch. So what are we going to do now? We have to now start pushing to GitHub. We have to start releasing our file to GitHub. How are we going to release our file to GitHub? This is where the first thing we have to do is to connect. At this point now, you can see it's not connected. How do we know it's not connected to GitHub? How are we going to know that it's not connected to GitHub? By doing git remote dash v. Once you do git remote dash v and click enter, if you don't see anything, sorry, I did not do it well. Git remote, it's not being spelled with the remote. So if you don't see anything, that means you have not connected your GitHub to your project. If you go and push at this point, you are not going to be pushing to any repository. So what am I going to do? You see this line, this line. You see that line? I will have to copy it, then paste it. So the line says git remote add origin, then the GitHub repo. So once I click enter and I come back and do this git remote dash v, you will now see it. So now before I did git remote dash v, I did not say anything. But now after adding, I come back to do git remote dash v, I am now seeing my repository. I am now seeing my what? My repository. So now I can push to GitHub. So what will I do? Git push dash u. It means upstream. So I can be able to be tracking it upstream. Origin. Now this origin came from this name. You can see in this line. You can decide to change this name if you want. You can put your name. Git remote add your name, the GitHub URL, depending on what you want. But now we are using origin. You can see I have to put the origin. Now I will not indicate the branch I am pushing to. Main. Now I can start to create many branch and push any branch I want to. So, but I have to indicate the branch by using main. So automatically now you will see your work being pushed to GitHub. So this is it. Our work has been pushed to GitHub. So now I can create another branch and push that same branch. How? Git checkout. Git checkout means creating another branch. Git checkout dash b test. If I use test now, I've created another branch and automatically I've switched to that branch. After creating a branch, I have to switch to the branch. Test. So I can push now to this branch. Git push dash u origin test. You can see I have to here when I push at this point it was main, origin main, but now I'm pushing to origin test. I will now click enter automatically. So and this will be done once. This push will be done once. Sorry, this dash u. This dash u will be done once. The next time I'm going to be pushing, I'm not going to get dash u again. So that is it for that one. So the next time I'm going to be pushing, I'm not going to indicate dash u. So if I come back to this place and refresh this GitHub, you will see that everything will change. So you can see I've automatically pushed my file. So now I taught you guys yesterday on Tuesday about how to host on GitHub. So GitHub automatically accepts what is it called again? GitHub automatically accepts okay, GitHub automatically accepts HTML for hosting. So now what will I do? I'm going to click here, settings. On this particular line, I'm going to click settings and I'll come down to pages. Put that in mind, pages. Then I will select the page I want to use, the branch I want to use, sorry, the branch. I'll select main branch. So now I'll click on save. Once you click on save, automatically it has created a URL for you. Refresh this page, refresh it, you will see your URL. Automatically, you have hosted it on GitHub pages. So you will see your URL. Sorry, I'm supposed to see my URL. Let me refresh again. Was this? Okay, it's here now. So you just have to refresh until you see it. Continue to refresh until you see it. So once I click on this, you will now see it has automatically. Let's go and add something so we'll see. I think this will be preferable. Now let's add a kind of H1. Let's add H1 Joshua AGK. So now, once I add this, if I come now, I want to push. If I do git status, you will see that it is showing like there's something that needs to be added. That a modification has taken place. So now, if I do git add, so I've done git add now. Let me check the git status again. So you can see it's not changing. So let me do git commit dash m fixed uh hosting documents error. So if I do this now, you will see I've automatically committed it to Git. So let me push now. Now, put in mind that since I've committed it to Git, and since I've done Git push dash u origin main before, I don't need to do Git push dash u again. Git push dash u origin. And now, if had it been I added Git remote dash v, if I did have added like multiple GitHub repo, I will now have to do git push origin or any name I use for the GitHub repo or any GitHub repo. Then I will not do main and click on enter. But for the fact that it is only just one GitHub repo that is added, I don't have to do this long. I just do git push and automatically it will push to main. Automatically it has pushed to main branch, to test branch, sorry. We are in test branch. It has pushed to test branch. So I don't only okay, let's use that test branch. Automatically it has pushed to test branch. Let's go and see some other things we have to learn. So if I refresh this now, you will not be seeing anything because we are using main branch. So now let's come back to this. Let's go back to our code. Let's go back to our code. Now, you can see test branch. This is where I will teach you guys how to add a PR. What's a PR? A pull request and merge it to your main branch. So I normally in a company, there is all when you're working with a company, there's always a branch that you don't push to directly. There is always one person that push to that branch. There is always one person. Now, what that means is should in case you have any error, let's take for instance, all of us are pushing to main to one branch, and I mistakenly push one error, and I did not notice it, but I have pushed, and that project is live, and some customers are using it. When I push that error, the project will crash. The view that the users are using, the UI will crash, and once it crash, it's a big blow on us. So, and there's some errors that can be difficult to find. So the best way is we create multiple branches depending on which one you're working on. If I'm working on dashboard, I might create dashboard branch, create any branch. Then once I push to that one I'm working on, and I will create a PR. Somebody will review it and somebody will merge it. Some companies do what is called there is what we call develop. It's not a must. You can use any name. But in my own company, we use what was called develop. Develop now is a branch. Once you push to GitHub with your main with the branch that is assigned to you, you have to still merge it to develop. Now, once you merge it to develop, one person that will not carry everything that is merged to develop. Once there is a successful push and it is tested that there's no error, the person will not carry everything and push to main. Now that pushing to main now will now settle everything. You'll not be seeing your work live. So now let's do a PR. If you now you can see GitHub is already showing us that we need to do a PR. So once you come here, sometimes you might not see this. So once you do not see it, you will now see something like this branch is one commit ahead of main. That means this branch is ahead of main. You can come here, you will now see open PR. You can still use this, you can see use all of them will lead to the same place. So once you click here and you click here, it's still the same thing. But let me click here, which is okay. Now, once I click there, I will have to select the branch I want to merge to. There can be many branches like that developer I told you now. This is where I will select develop. Like that is, but now I have only two branches. I'll just select main. So now in most companies, you have to have somebody that will review because all of you will be added to this project. Now you now have to add somebody that needs to review the project. Maybe your CEO or your CTO. You have to add the person. You will see reviewers. You have to click here and add the person. But that's because I'm the only person here. I will not be seeing that. So the next thing I'm going to do is what create pull PR, which is pull request. You can add a text, a description of what you want to do. So once you click on create pull request, you will now see, if you do not see any error here, sometimes you will see error and this would be blank. It will not be clickable. So if you do not see any error here, then you can go ahead and click this merge pull request. But if you see error, don't click this. You might not even be able to click it. But let me just click now since so automatically I will now click on confirm merge. So once I click on that confirm merge now, before you notice that when we really will refresh this one, we will not see anything. But if I refresh it now, I think I will see something. Okay, still loading. It will take a little while. Once it take a little while, then if I come back, let's go back to our code and see. You can see this branch isn't okay. Sorry, this branch isn't protected. But if we go back to our test branch, you will see that it will not be showing that is one commit behind. This branch is one commit. Uh, commit behind. Okay, one commit behind, not ahead. Before it was ahead. So I think now it will work for us. Let's refresh and see. So you can see now. You can see the Joshua. Before that, we have not merged to main. You are not seeing the Joshua, but because you have merged what you have now to main, you can see Joshua HK as reflected in our URL. So now that is that for when you are using multiple branch. You can, for please note all these things I'll be writing. Git this, git that. So I want to basically rush to hosting on different platforms because we don't really have enough time. So now this is what we can do now. So let's do now let me add this my work another work to GitHub to the same GitHub. Now you can see, let me just go back to this and let me add this particular repository. Let me just add it and push to it. Okay, see the same index. So if I want to add this particular repository, now let's say for instance I'm using two repository uh for a project, just like I explained in our last class. That let's say for instance you're working with a company and the company creates a GitHub account for you. Sorry, created an email for you. Put in mind that when they want to add it to the GitHub, they'll definitely add they will definitely add you with that email they created for you. So that whenever they are done with you, whenever they want to sack you, whenever you are leaving, they can easily remove you from their project without you having it. And not that you're going to use their project, that is the main thing, no, but as a developer, whenever you come to your profile, it speak well for you. If they are working on projects, you will see it here. They are working on projects. But now you can see that I only have two projects that I've worked. I only have two indication that I'm working on projects, which is wrong. So if I'm working from November to November now, I will definitely have so many green buttons or green color in this place. So now let's continue. So what am I going to do now? Like I said, let me just add this particular repository. So I'll just copy this link because I've added my SSH. I'll just copy this. And once I go to my, so what will I do now in this part? Like I told you, if you want to connect a repository, a GitHub repository to your project, what will you do? Git remote add. Before we did add origin, but I don't want to use origin again because origin is existing. So if I use origin now and paste, let me just use it and show you something. It will show you that error exists, which is origin, remote origin already exists. So I can't use origin again. Git remote add test. Let me use test and paste it. So if I do this now and add it, you automatically see it has been added. If I do git remote dash v to indicate, you will now see that I have two GitHub added to this project. So you can push to this one, I can push this one. So now, since pushing to this one or pushing to this one, I don't need to do git push again. I will have to indicate the branch, the GitHub I'm pushing to. Git push test. So let me switch to git checkout. Checkout means I'm switching now. Git checkout main. I want to switch to main branch. So you can see I switch to main branch. You can see it here. So let me push to my main branch now in the second GitHub. Git push test because test is the second one I want to push to main. So if I have multiple, I can still add them and use the same name. So I'm not going to be doing git push again. I'm going to be indicating the GitHub I'm pushing to. So now if I click enter, so it already has a project there. So you can't really push and override that project directly like that, and there is no tracker for that. So I will not be going to this now, but when we get to some project, I'll be going into it, some kind of project. So now this is what we have. So I think we did what I have explained with what we have now in this project, we can easily know Gits and other stuff. So when we get to some kind of project, we have to make it private. So some other things. I'll definitely explain that to us. So let's create an account that I want us to create. Let's just flow through now. Let's create an host now. Let's just create an host. So what I will do for us now, let me just open this God first. So I'll create a Vasu account, a Vassal. This is what we call. Let me use Netlify first. Netlify. Netlify. You can see it Netlify. Look at it here. Netlify. Netlify. So you can see it Netlify. So I have to click on Netlify. So Netlify helps us to host our project through GitHub. So Netlify helps us to host our project through GitHub. I'll just create accounts with them. So you can decide to use your GitHub if you want to. You can decide to use your GitLab or anything. You can decide to use your email. But I'll use my GitHub. Please, guys, let's use our GitHub. GitHub. Let me just use this one. Let me try this one again. Netlify. So Netlify. So once I click sign up, I will see. I'll prefer you use your GitHub since we are using GitHub now. You guys should just use your GitHub. Let's use our GitHub. Let's use our GitHub. So I'll use my GitHub. So now I'll authorize Netlify. So automatically Netlify has been created for us. So if I come down here to log in, I'll use my GitHub to log in. You already have a registered user with this email. Log in to connect to your GitHub. Yeah, okay, let me check my email. So they will send me an email. Check your mail. Okay. Okay, check your mail. You will see verify Netlify. Check your mail so that you see your verify Netlify. Click on verify Netlify. So just check your mail. You will see your mail. You have to verify. You have to verify so that it can log in. So at this point now, it does not log in because I'm not verified. So I have to verify my identity. So I'm using my phone to do that. Just go to your mail, check and verify. So once you are done verifying, uh, uh-huh. Amplify has gone to another level. They are saying we have to verify with our ID card. They are saying I have to verify my ID card. That is going to be a huge thing for me to do. Don't worry, there are other platforms I will show you guys. So they are saying I have to verify my ID card, driving license, passport, government issued ID card to continue. So that will be another time. If you are ready to do that, you can do that. Verify your ID card and get Netlify on board. But before, it has been long I use Netlify either. Before, you don't need to do that. That you don't need to do that to get to where you want to get to in Netlify. So, but now they are saying we should do that. I can't use them again for now. So let's try Vasu.com. So this another one, Varsel, VERCEL.com. So I have to sign up. I have to sign up also with my GitHub. So they're saying hobby or pro. So I just put personal projects, your name, outputs, uh uh pavers, pavers. Yes, put pavers. So I'll use my GitHub now. So I have to authorize my GitHub, authorize, boom. There is already an account associated with this with your GitHub email. Please log in with your GitHub. Okay, there's already an account associated with my GitHub email. So then log in. Okay, I should just log in with there is already an account. But once you do that, you don't really need to. They already say there's already an account associated with it. So let me just use 2021 at gmail.com. So once you use that GitHub, fine, it will continue for you. But let's see. Verification. Please enter your phone number. So they say they will send notification to my phone number. So this is because I'm once you click on that GitHub and connect, you don't really need this process. I'm just trying to do something. But I'll still go to another GitHub, another this thing and try it. So automatically I've been logged in now. So I'm redirected now. So I'm logged in. So let me use this order of my GitHub and do this. So I'll just try Vercel. So I don't really need to use this again. Let me just use Vercel, Vercel. So let's try Vercel now while we are still waiting for the redirecting and all that. But it has been created for us. I already have an account, but I want us to use our Gmail to do that. So I will still do the same thing here. I will do personal projects. Be careful anytime you're using Pro. You can see Pro. It has what is called paid details attached to it. So that's why I don't want to use Pro. I had to use always my personal project, but I can still host any kind of project. So what will I use? Wonders. Wonder. Wonder. I'll use Wonder, then I'll click on connect. So automatically it will tell us to log in. GitHub. AGK. From 22. Ah, what did I use as my password now? Nice to remember. So so let me just check it here. I created this now. So let's try it again. Let me try again. Um, Let me just try something. Let me be sure I actually. Let me sign up. I've not even created a GitHub account with this mail. Uh, so, so I have to verify. Let me just verify and be sure. So I have to push this animal to face down. So where is it facing now? So it's down. It's facing down. So great. Let's just go through. I will check my mail now. Let me save this. Scally. Let me check my mail. So a code has been sent to me. So I'll have to type that code 70506 903. So depending on if you have a company, I don't have, so I'll just do just me. So I just have to click everything if you want to. So I'm just trying to so that we can do with Vasu. I'm just like so I'm just doing this so we can actually see how Vasu works also. So I'll just continue. Then I'll go with the free accounts. So automatically this is it. So I'll come back to my Vasu and let me just put this. I'll put my password. Okay, this section is over. So, but since I've done this, let me just click on this now. It's open on that section. So automatically I'll just authorize it. So now they say I should put the phone number. So I just put +23. See, that's my phone number. I just put it 2348105768015. So this is my number I'm putting now. Make sure you just follow through what I'm doing and you will get it. Okay, they say this phone number already associated with Vasu account. So let me put another number and call the person. Let me put another number and call the person because I only have one number. My second number was stolen when by one chance, guys. So I'll just put 81 2067 9303. Please send me this thing they sent to you. Please send me the code they sent to you. No, on your phone number, they will send you a code now. On your phone, they will just send you a message, an OTP. What? 0244. So yeah, thank you. So automatically we have created an account with Vassel. So now Vassel have created an account for you. I just want to show you guys so you guys will see how it flows. So Vassel now can help you host any kind of your website. There's another one we are going to go to, which is Render. But let's finish with Vassel. So now let me go and host my work on Vassel. Remember, we were using this then. Okay. So now you can see this aspect is showing you imports. But we have not add this one now. I don't think there's a GitHub account added to it. I don't think there's a GitHub added to it. So now we have to add our GitHub now. Since I did not add the GitHub to this, I have to add my GitHub now. So I have to click here and use that GitHub. Automatically you can see. So now what will I do? I'll have to get a GitHub account, a GitHub repository. Now, put in mind, we have added our GitHub now. So let me go and get a repository and add it. So I'll have to do this. So now, don't go and use all. So that once you use all now, any GitHub, any repo you create automatically will be added to Vercel. So don't use all, use only so that you can be the one selecting the kind of repository you want to be adding to your Vercel. So your Vercel, since it's a private account, it's a free account, so you're not going to get it filled up. It's not forever. So I'm going to pick one of these our projects now. You can see select the project after clicking on only selected projects. So I'll have to select the project now. Which project am I going to use? And let me use this one we are using now. Test project. So I will now click install. Automatically now, once I click install, this I should put my password. Am I remembering my password? So please let me remember this password. Incorrect. This is where problem comes. Okay. So automatically now I've added the project, I've added my work. So this is an HTML project so that you can see. So now once I click here, import. So now I have to deploy it. Now you can see there are many projects there are many technologies you can use on Vercel. We have Zola, Vue, Press, and all that. We have React also. We have Next.js and all that, and all that, and all that, and all that. These are all the kind of projects you can use. If it's Next.js, you can click Next.js. If it's React, you can find React. Where is React? You can see React.js ready. So if you do not see React.js, just click on others. I think Gatsby.js is here too. Vue is here. So if it's not okay, create React app. You can see React app is here. So there are many kind of projects this that you can host on Vercel. Many kind. So you can just click on deploy. So automatically it will be building for you. So you can see the build is taking place. You can see it's building now. It's building, it's building, it's building. Once it is done, boom, your project is now being built and being hosted on Vercel. So you can just see the link now. I'll just click here to view my link. So automatically, this is my project hosted. So if I give anybody this URL, the person will be seeing this stuff I am pushing. So put in mind what we are doing. Put in mind what I've done. Vercel is this is the process of Vercel, and I believe all of us understood this. Now let me go through this. We don't have any projects here. We don't have any projects in this GitHub. Even though I could have said we should just do it. But I believe what I have done, you guys can still follow through. Now, if I want to add on that project, that is another thing I need to explain before I leave Vercel and go to render. If I want to add on that project now to this, like I said, I've added this project. Now let me add new projects. So now, if I want to add on that project to this, what will I do to add on that project? I have to come to this place. You can see Joshua Paver. I have to come here and click on Add GitHub Account. I'll click on Add GitHub Account. Then I will now see this. Scroll down to only selected project. I will click here and find the project I want to add. Like if your project is too long and you don't know, you can search the name of the repository. You can search the name of the repository here. But since I know my repository, I will just click on any one of them. Let me click on this. Let me just click on this. Then I'll click on save. Automatically, I've added the project also. So this is the second project. Then I'll click on import. So now, once I click on import, I have to click on deploy. And put in mind if there is an error in your project, it will not deploy, it will tell you there's an error. So make sure you don't push error. So continue to dashboard. So you can see the project now. Once I click here, it will open for me also. So but I'll just continue to dashboard. You can see, so I'll see my link. So this is the link now. I'll click here and I'll see it. So you can see it here also, the same thing. So automatically now you have hosted two projects on Vercel. Now the last one we are going to be hosting, and we'll call it a day. We are going to be hosting and I will call it a day is render. So is what render. Okay. I already have render here. I don't want to use that same of my account to connect on render. So let me just create a repository here and push to this place. Let me just create a repository. Create. I don't want to lock out that my test. Let me just be fast with this. Create this public. So let me just copy this. So let me go to my project. Let me add this one now. Git removes add pro. Let me use production, which is pro. Then I'll paste that link. Sorry, I'm not supposed to add this. I don't want to add. I want to use SSH, not HTTP. Git removes RM pro. I want to remove that one now. So automatically remove it. If I check Git removes -v. So this Git removes RM means remove. So I don't want to use, I want to use SSH. So I'll copy this one. So Git removes add. So I want to use SSH, not that one. there's an error. Git remote add pro pro, which is the name. The name I want to use to identify it. So I've added it. If I do git remote dash v, you will see it. You can see that it's three projects now, three repositories have been added. If I do git add for okay, everything has been added. Git commit dash m season, nothing is there. Git push dash u. Since it's the first time I'm pushing to this repository, I have to use dash u upstream pro main. So I'll push now. Permission to this deny George Pavers could not read remote. Uh, so it's kind of indicating this George Pavers as the origin. So then I have to give George Pavers license here. Uh, George Pavers. Let me just add it so that we'll be fast with what we are doing. But I see other ways, but we don't have time. This is already close to 10 o'clock, which is the time we are going to be stopping. So let me just add it. There are still other ways to do that. So I've added Josh Pavers now. I believe it will work now. Why is he saying this again? Okay, Josh Pavers I have to accept. I have to accept. And I've not added this to this. Okay, let me just do. So I'm just trying to add my GitHub, my email to accept the invitation. I've seen the invitation. Yeah, I've seen the invitation. But you can't use your phone to accept the invitation. You can't use your phone to accept the invitation. So you have to add, that's why you can see me doing this now. I can't use my phone to accept the invitation. Password. So now I've been added. Continue. Hey, shit. I don't need this. So you can see the invite now. Let me just accept the invite. So once I click here now and click on view, so I can accept because this is where the GitHub is logged in. If the GitHub is not logged in, that's why we were seeing that issue. So you can see now that I have not really pushed. So now if I go back and push now, we believe it will work because I've accepted the invite. You can see now. So I've automatically pushed now to this. So I've automatically push here now. So you can see I've pushed now. So I can still add it to my what is it called? To my Vercel if I want to. But we're not looking at Vercel now, we're looking at render, render. So now let me just write on render. You can see on render. So now once I click on render, now the next thing I have to do is to get started. There are two things. You have to log in with your Gmail or email or anything, but always use your GitHub since that is where your project is. So I have to authorize it now. That's where my project is, so I have to authorize it. So no problem. So they are sent. Let me check. Sent. So I have to verify my email. So we have few minutes to go for today's class. I'm taking my time now, drawing my words and taking my time to explain this. So I believe if you watch this video carefully, you will definitely get what we are saying in the platform I actually sent to us for hosting. So this platform I'm using for us like Vercel and Render are very, very powerful. They can give you free hosting for a long time. So most of your projects you are building and want to send to somebody to view for you, this is where it starts. So after this, put in mind from next week, you'll be getting a lot of projects every week. So just as a new project. So this is it now. So this is because I want to host my site, I have to use this one, new sites. So first and foremost, I have to connect my repository. So which one am I using? GitHub or Git? Anyone am I using? Is GitHub I'm using? So I'm going to use GitHub. So you can see that same thing, all repository or only selected repository. I always prefer selected repository. I don't really know why. So, there's some projects I don't really want to host, and you'll not be seeing them in your, and maybe now that this particular part, now once you push any project, if you're using all, when you push any project, it's going to be hosted, it's going to be added. Really push any project. So imagine now you have like 1,000 projects, or less, you might not get up to 1,000. Let's say you have 100 projects you have built, and definitely it's not all of them you want to host on render, but you still be seeing them. So that is going to cause confusion for me. That's why I don't like it that way. So I actually like selecting only selected repository, install. So now, since I've installed it, what next is for me to connect it now. So connecting it now, what will I use to connect it? So put in mind, I'm using, remember the process I used. I'm using a static platform, not a web. Let me go back again so you guys will see it. So this is where I clicked static. That is for hosting web front end, website front end. But if you want to host back end, maybe you're building back end and you want to be hosting back end, this is for hosting back end web service. So So this is it now. Let's come down to this. Now, the first thing you have to do is the name. And make sure you always use the name of your project that you used on GitHub. What did I use as the test? I'll come here and write test. The one I use for my GitHub. So now the next thing I'm going to do, repository, root, root directory, build command, root directory, I'll just put dots. Root directory means your folder. So everything's on the root folder. So I just put dots. So depending on what you want. So now I hope you guys are following me. It seems I'm kind of little bit faster. Let me check. Let me check. Let me be sure that my guys are following me. Okay. So let me just come back here and use render. Let me check the command again. I think is let me just check the command I used. npm run build, npm install, and npm run build. So depending on which one you're using, then publish directory. You can see build. You can use build, publish directory, build, anyone you want to use. So you can use only this one, but let me just use only npm. It will still do the installation for you automatically. Take over this main branch. Put in mind is main. But if you're using master, maybe you not convert your own. If you not convert your own to main and using master, you can use master depending on what you are using. Publish directory build. Don't worry about that. This is the public directory I want to use. Create. Let's see. It will start building for us. To start building for us. So, guys, this might take a little bit of time. This might take a little bit of time. Okay, fail. That means there are some things we did not write well. Let me just use that same build. Build. Put in mind, I can't really cram all this. You can't cram it. You have to make research. Sometimes you have to watch YouTube if you're not getting it well. So let's just continue. Look for it launched. So once it's launched, we are done for the C error. Let's check again. Public directory, build command, this directory is empty. Let's be hopeful that this will host. Okay, this is HTML. I've not hosted HTML on Render before. I don't know if it will work, but let's be hopeful it works. Let's be hopeful. I've not hosted this on Render before. I don't think there is, okay. I don't think there is for HTML. I'm kind of using React command. I don't think there's any build command for HTML. HTML automatically hosts by itself. I don't think there's any big command for HTML. I don't know, but let's just be hopeful. If it not work this time, maybe on our next class. I've not hosted HTML on Render before. I've only hosted, I think, React, basically. I've only hosted React on Render. Okay, I think it's working now. There is no build command for HTML. HTML automatically builds by itself. There's no build command. So that's why it's working. So, but let's be hopeful it has not ended. It will definitely take some time. It will definitely take some time. So this is taking time. I'll definitely we'll definitely see this in our next class. So let's be hopeful and let's keep on waiting. So let's just wait for it to run. Let's just wait for it to run. Let's just wait for it again. If it's not on this time, I think we have to call off. All this does not matter in HTML. So once it does not work this time, we'll just leave it. Now next class, I think I'll get a solution to that. But if you have any question, you can start asking for those that are part of the class. Okay, it's live now. I think that this thing that we added, you don't really need to add anything for it. I think the basic thing that you need to add, you don't need a root directory for HTML because HTML does not really need all those things. You don't need this, you just need only dots for publish directory. When you get to React and here, you will not start looking at all those things. But I think it's associated. Now let's click on it and see. So this is what we added here, and nothing is inside, but it has hosted. That is the main thing. We got it hosted. So if you have any question, you can ask. We have spent more than our time. If you're part of the class and you have any question, you can ask. So if there are no questions, please let's try as much as possible to follow through the class and let's do other things like in our next class, we are going to be going to stage 3, which is CSS. We have not updated it. We need to update it. So which is CSS. So let's put in mind that aspect. Thank you guys and God bless you. If you have any question at any point in time, you can still ask us. We are always ready to answer you.